英っぽいね。
いけてない。Do you know chopsticks?
Yeah.
Do you know 座布団?
Can you eat 納豆?
それをばっかりしてる。
Hey everyone, it's Tika, your English coach. 皆さんこんにちは。2万人以上のビジネスパーソンを教えてきた Bizmates 英語講師のヒカです。
Everyone, it's Guni.
はい、こんにちは。Bizmatesの生徒のキムです。今日も始めましたネイティブイケオジたちを巻き込んだ英語ディスカッションコース。今日のテーマはかっこいい英語シリーズのなんと会食編です。絶対ではないけれども、一緒に友達とかご飯行くこともあるんじゃないですか。仕事だけでなく日常生活でももしかしてめちゃくちゃ役に立つテーマになるんじゃないかなと思うんですけれども。Do you have any tips for かっこいい for being cool?
Very important, very
I
important.
actually had a question before we actually started. I wanted to know if Hika-san, do you have a lot still, or because I feel like over the past years, the number of these events have
会食
is gone down a lot.
I mean,
compliance and things like that.
Well, before
right?
Corona, before COVID, there were a lot. I had a lot. Like all of our final interviews, job interviews, were in a restaurant, dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but after COVID, that has really died down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a lot of our clients, our corporate clients, and our suppliers and vendors, they're actually working from home. Mm-hmm. So even our meetings are still like online.
Right. That's what I mean, since after, like you mentioned, after COVID, I used to go out with clients all the time, you know, but then after COVID, it kind of went down.
Yeah. So you're right. No, it's not that common anymore. But in our office, because we are office based, sometimes I'll go out for dinner or drinking with some of our colleagues. Yeah. Right. But outside the company, no, it's still quite rare. Good point. Yeah. So, well, anyway, there are some challenges in having dinner with a client. And one thing is keeping the conversation going.
Right.
It's because if you don't know the other person too well and you've only done business with them, you never talk about anything private.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you talk about? So it becomes silent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what to say. He doesn't know what to say, or she doesn't know what to say. Makes you feel very uncomfortable. That's not good, right? And what people do is they try to get personal, and they'll ask some really personal questions like, so are you married? How old are you? What is your blood type?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's the one what was it like? I don't know. A lot of Japanese people ask you, what's your blood type?
Yeah.
Like like my personality is affected by my blood type.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm A, and they're like, yeah, you're A boy, man. Like, I don't even know what that means. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm A boy,
Yeah. So, and when I first came to Japan, I just like you, I learned about A blood type, B and O and AB.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's okay, but asking too many personal questions, it just is, you got to be careful these days. So be careful with that, because just asking too many personal questions is just not cool.
Yeah.
It's, you get an eye. Yeah.
But I feel like they ask so many personal questions, but they don't share about themselves.
Oh, right.
So you're just kind of like, it's like an interview, and you're just like trying to get information to try to expand the conversation with them. Yeah. But it's just like you're getting all these like question after question, or because you're from Canada. Oh, really? I've been to Canada, and then you're not really talking about them. Yeah. You're talking more about just yourself. So.
Yeah, and it feels like an interview.
Yeah, it does.
You are a foreigner. Yeah. You are new to this country. Yeah. Do you know chopsticks?
Yeah.
Do you know 座布団?
Can you eat 納豆?
それをばっかりしてる。
No, they're not. I don't think they mean to be like that. But then to us, it kind of comes off like that, right? Like, yeah. And you're just like, I can use chopsticks. Do you want a fork and knife? No, I'm good.
Yeah. So how do you have a natural conversation, right? You don't, silence is not good. Asking too many personal questions is not good. So what do? Well, you ask some general questions. You could ask like, so how long have you been in Japan? That's a fair question. Yeah. And depending on the answers that the other person gives, that gives you the opportunity to ask more questions. So, if you ask, how long have you been in Japan? Well, I've been in Japan for about 25 years. So when I first came, I was in my 20s, early 20s. And then, but after I got married and I have 2 kids now, and they're like, oh, he's married, he's 2 kids. So now I'm sharing a little bit of personal information. Then it's okay to ask, oh, really? Oh, is your wife Japanese? Oh, where did you meet? Yeah. Then it's okay. So the important thing is to ask some general questions to get some specific answers, and then it allows you to be able to dig deeper. Yeah. Then that's a safe way.
Yeah. No, I was going to say the exact same thing. It's just like asking follow-up questions is really important, right? If you're just like, what do you do on the weekends? And they're like, oh, I play, baseball. And you're just like, oh, really? How long have you been playing baseball?
Yes.
Or, were you on your high school team? And, oh, yeah, you went to Koshin? And then, the conversation can get a little bit more exciting. And
that's a real natural conversation. If you could do that, that is cool. That is イケてる. Yeah.
How can we practice?
Well, I don't know if it's practice, but I think the important thing is knowing the purpose of this conversation. The purpose is to get to know the other person more, right? So if you keep that in mind, then you'll want to know more about the other person, and you'll ask more questions. It's just you need to be careful not to ask too many personal questions. Okay, so ask general questions. Get to know them more, ask deeper questions, find something in common, something that you're interested in and they're interested in, and then naturally the conversation, expands from there. But if they're talking about something you don't care about, they're talking about ballet, and you have no interest in ballet, they're talking about jazz music, I like country music, they talk about baseball, I like soccer. You have nothing in common. It's difficult to make that connection. So I think the secret is to be interested, to get to know them, and find something in common. And then it allows you to expand the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Since Hiro-san and I were both coming from, teaching backgrounds, right? And then we get all different types of clients, right? And they all have different hobbies, different jobs. So I don't know if Hiro-san did this, but I used to do homework. Like I would try to narrow down, okay, some of my clients are 40-year-old businessmen. At that time, I was like most 40-year-old businessmen living in Tokyo, like the Tokyo Giants, like the baseball team. So then I would even though I'm not a Giants fan, I would stay on top of the scores, who their famous players are, just so that I could expand the conversation should I have to. Does that make sense? Yeah. So.
I like the Chunichi Dragons.
Right, that's
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, go.
It leads to that, you could debate about which team's better, which is kind of also a conversation.
Do some research.
Right? Yeah. You could be like, oh, Uchiha Kandogu or something. Nagashima and Sarahado and it's just like if you're in a job that you have to interact with people, like new people all the time, it's best to have an open mind about everything. Have interest in anything and read random articles. Like, I don't spend the whole day just reading about, I do kendo, so I don't read about kendo all day long, right? So I do have other interests just for the fact that someday I might need to use that when I need something new. Right.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Yeah. So, learning, doing research, doing your homework is very important. I think one thing you need to be careful. What I like what you just said was that even though you might not have something in common, if you're interested in what they're saying, you're interested in learning, then the conversation could expand. Right. And so I think having a little bit of knowledge of a lot of things is really good. And one thing you need to be careful of, I just thought of, is be careful not to become a know-it-all. You know what a know-it-all is?
Know-it-all?
Nobody likes a know-it-all.
Are you a know-it-all?
What is know-it-all?
What's a know-it-all?
Know-it-all means like you have all the answers. You know everything. Know it all.
Yeah,
like monoshiri, like everything.
Yeah. Those people who they tend to be older, not to stereotype, but older men, right? And they have a lot of experience, a lot of information, and they're always like trying to teach you something.
Yeah.
And they'll test you, like, do you know who this famous person in history is? Or they'll ask you questions to test your knowledge, and then they'll teach you. That's
my father-in-law.
Yeah. My grandpa used to be like that.
Yeah. So sometimes, like when I was in a lesson, I pretend like I didn't know.
Right.
They're like, oh, do you know about this? And I do, but I'm just like, oh no, please.
Yes.
It makes them happy talking about it, right?
And you actually learn something new from that.
Learn something new.
Oh, I've heard that Japanese technique さしすせそ。
さしすせそ？
ソーセージ？さしすせそ。
ほうれん草じゃなくて。
いや、no、さしすせそ。さすが。
ああ、なるほどね。Yeah.
さし、知らなかった。すごい。
すごい。
せってなんだろう。で、そうが、あ、そうなんだ。
そうなんだ。
それ初めて聞いた。That's the first time I heard
Yeah,
that.
that is Japanese, Japanese, you know, the conversation technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Say it again.
Yeah. 何say it?
あ、違う。なんだろうね。say it again はない。
まあ、whatever. 急に英語。
天才だよね。Say it again.
ちょっと待って今。
ごめん。ちょっと面白すぎる。
実践の場でちゃんと出るかどうかわかんないんじゃないですか。What can we do? What can we do?
いや、クニさんと練習すれば。
顔何？めちゃくちゃ。
忙しいからね。いや、だったら、キムさん、Bizmatesのレッスンで、講師とこういう練習はできるんですよね。
トレーナーさんとね。
そう。いろんなトレーナーさんと、まあ、毎日レッスン受けれるので、違う先生と会って、もっと先生を知るためにいろんな質問とかして、で、ジェネラルクエスチョンからスタートして、話してきたことについてもうちょっと掘り下げて、興味持っていろんなことを話させて、さしすせそ。すごい素晴らしい。
なんで日本語
あ、日本語になっちゃったよ。Say it again! 英語なんて。
Say it again.
Yeah.
でも、that warm up あるね。And then trainer さんと練習すればいいんじゃない？ It's technique though.
Yeah, so practice with your trainer. Yeah. Practice makes perfect, right?
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. And also, at Bizmates, we have a program called Discovery, which includes various topics, not just about business, but about art, about music, about health, about science, astrology, many topics. So it becomes a good practice for you to talk about different topics with different people. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. I mean, even for native people, it's interesting articles, right? And I learn something new all the time. I do the discovery lessons as well.
Yes.
How many topics we have in Bizmates?
It's countless. I mean, we have about 2,000 articles and topics. We divide it into I think 14 different topics, but there's actually a lot more than that. Really covers a whole bunch of things.
And there are new topics coming up all the time, right?
All the time, yeah. Every week we recreate 5 to 10 different topics. Yeah,
I should try it.
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say one point that I thought was kind of interesting is when it comes to gaikokuzin, we kind of openly talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, because we know, we want people to know who we are. But I think for Japanese people, it's kind of ちょっと自慢に聞こえるから、逆に they don't usually talk about themselves.
Right.
Because they automatically think that they are not an interesting person. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. So if you could kind of loosen up a little bit, relax, and talk a little bit more about yourself, it'll make it a lot easier for the other person to ask you questions and have a more kind of an entertaining conversation. Yeah.
If you're a little bit too reserved, it's kind of hard, right? To break that ice sometimes, right? And we are interested in you. We want to know who you are, your hometown, because Japan is big too, but there's all different cultures depending on what part of Japan you're from. So they have something to talk about, right?
Absolutely, yes.
ありがとうございました。すごい有益な内容でした。なので、ここまで会食とかビジネスの外で話すときにどうすればイケてる英語になるのかについてだったんですけれども、皆さんもぜひこの tip とか実際に練習してみたいという方々は、ぜひ Bizmates の無料体験レッスンで無料診断お願いします。この動画が面白かったらチャンネル登録、コメント、高評価お願いします。
See you next time! で、結局、せは何だったの？僕はsay it again って言ったけど、さしすせそのせって何？
ちょっと調べますか？褒める。せってセンスあるねらしいっす。
センスあるね。
ちょっと待って。さしすせそ。キャバゴ。キャバゴって出てるけど。
なんかその
私はキャバ嬢
よ。すいません。通用するかもしれないね。これ。
俺なんとなくそのテクニックなんかどっかでみたいなっていうところだね。
コメントに絶対来ると思う。俺それってキャバ嬢じゃねみたいな。すいません。はい。
動画の概要欄にある URL から Bizmates の公式 LINE 友達に登録して簡単なアンケートに答えるだけでオリジナルフレーズブック10冊が無料でもらえます。 。ビジネスで覚えておきたい基本動詞、名詞などの完全攻略ブック、シーン別品質英語フレーズブック4冊、英会話に必要な最低限のフレーズ150選など、すべて私、ヒカが厳選した全部600選のフレーズブック10冊をプレゼントします。ぜひ見逃さずプレゼントを受け取って皆さんの英語学習にご活用ください。